Welcome to Stateside Street, a podcast where two Americans discuss all things Coronation Street. My name is Shanika. Amelia is actually taking a bit of a break, but she's okay. She definitely will be back for interviews, which we have some coming up, and a special episode in April. Pretty sure you all can guess which episode that is going to be about. It's going to be about the whodunit. And of course, this small little wedding. I don't know. Some couple named Swirla. I don't know what that's about. But no, she's going to be back for some really cool things. But yeah, she's just taking a bit of a break. Again, she's totally okay, but definitely send her some love and some light and just show her your support. I'm sure she'll definitely appreciate that. But today, we are going to talk about Coronation Street's huge week. The episodes between March 16th through March the 20th. Man, it was a really good week. Really good week. All I've seen is just praises for this week's Corey. The huge storyline is Megan and Will. We had some Todd and Theo, some Kit, some Alia sprinkled in, but the major storyline, definitely Megan getting exposed and arrested. I cannot wait to dive into that. I really cannot wait. So I took to Twitter and I asked our followers what they think about this week's Coronation Street. Looks like a lot of you all are very happy that Megan has finally been exposed, and I'm right there with you. Megan's secret is out, but I will say, don't get too happy, because there's a lot of time between now and April 23rd, a lot of time. So I think that we are just at the tip of the iceberg, to be honest. There's definitely a lot more story left, and I don't think Megan's going to go down without a fight. I really don't. I'm excited to see what comes next. I really am. Yvonne says that this week's Corey was excellent. I agree with you, Yvonne. Maureen wants Megan to be sent down for life. I'm right there with you, Maureen. I'm right there with you. I hope she gets sent down, especially because Will isn't her only victim, and neither is the previous young gentleman before. Like, those two are not Megan's only victims. I think she actually alluded to her having previous inappropriate behaviors with other students, boys and girls. And I definitely think we're going to see more people come up and share their story so Megan can get sent down for multiple years. And I also think that Tim's storyline will also kind of coincide with that and him coming to terms with his own. We also have Elle, and it looks like someone by the name of Dr. Swarla. That's their username. They both said that they enjoyed this week's Coronation Street. DK agrees with all of our praises. And Odds, I hope I'm pronouncing the name right, AUDZ. Odds says that Coronation Street has been brilliant. I agree. I cannot agree more. Honestly, they are truly setting things up very well, and they're really taking the storyline seriously. You can tell, like, the scripts has been solid. The acting has been amazing. It's just brilliant work. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your thoughts. Feel free to keep leaving comments and shooting us messages. As always, we really do appreciate and we love discussing Coronation Street and soaps in general. Just keep it respectful. That's all we ask, and you guys absolutely killing it. So yeah, definitely share your thoughts. Before I really dig in, I do want to do a little bit of housekeeping. We have a few interviews dropping. If you all have not checked out Pop Goes to Tam Tam, definitely check that podcast out. It's a really dope podcast. I'm a guest in one of their episodes where I share my thoughts about Neighbours, the Australian soap opera Neighbours, if you all have not heard of it. And I also share my thoughts about the character of Sonia Rebecca and the relationship between Sonia and Toad Rebecca. Beautiful relationship, really fantastic characters, and a really good soap. So if you all are interested in learning about Neighbours or just listening to me yap about Neighbours and Kylie Minogue as well, definitely check it out. There is a lot more collaborations coming, and I think you guys will be really excited for the ones that we have coming up. Right, so let's get to it. So I'm going to start with the smaller storylines, just to get that over with, because I really want to talk about Megan. So we have Kit. He's threatening witnesses and acting a bit shady, just like he always does. And as some of you know, actually, I'm a fan of Kit. I like Kit. I think he's a good character. Not good as in morally good. No, he's definitely bent. He's a bent cop, but he's not a straight up villain, in my opinion. And I really do like those characters, those character types where they're sort of like morally ambiguous, and I think Kit fits that mold, and I like her just like that. And as far as this storyline goes, he has threatened Mal And Mel ended up in the hospital. Obviously, Kid is responsible. Not 100%, but he's definitely have some responsibility there. And it looks like Lisa is on the case and is very determined to find out who attacked Mel. I do wonder, though, if she finds out it was Kid, will she cover for him? What do you all think? Do you think she's going to cover for him? Do you think someone else is going to get sent down for it? Who knows? I will say she covered for him before, and she swept a lot of things under the rug with Rob and Carla and everything like that. So I do wonder how this will all end. Honestly, I don't think Kit will get sent down for anything. I think he's definitely here to stay for a while. So I don't think he's going to get sent down. Maybe Mel will probably drop the charges, or I don't know, it will just go away somehow. But I definitely don't think he's going to get sent down or like fired from his job or anything like that. The thing is about Kit, though, is he's very resourceful. And he's ambitious, like too ambitious for his own good. He's very sneaky. But again, I like characters like that, I'll tell you the character I don't like. Theo. Can't stand him. Oh my gosh, he needs to go. I'm so glad his story is wrapping up soon. Everyone's been brilliant in this storyline, but yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So Theo and Todd, they're broken up, but Theo is still manipulating and abusing Todd behind the scenes. And it's so frustrating. It's so sad to see Todd go through this. He has sort of a way out, right? Like they're done. They're not together anymore. So that's his way out. And I'm doing air quotes. You can't see me, but that's his way out, right? Quote unquote way out. But it really is hard to step away from a situation like this, from an abusive relationship like this, right? Even when people might say, oh, it's so easy, just walk away. You're done. You're not in a relationship no more. Just walk away. But it's really hard to do that. And I think that's what we're seeing. And it can be frustrating to see as an audience member, because it's like, okay, well, let's move this story along, right? But it is realistic what's happening. It is realistic. So sometimes it's a bit of a balance of like being realistic and just like being, I won't say entertaining, but like picking up the pace. So it's a fine balance. But I think they're doing a fantastic job. But I can't wait to see the storyline, just like, well, this part anyways, and then see the ramifications and the impacts of this whole Todd and Theo thing. I've said it before, but I really, really hope they do not kill off Theo. I don't think they will. I think there's pretty much evidence that says that he won't be killed off in a whodunit, but you never know. It is a soap, right? But yes, we will see. So Theo is definitely still abusing and manipulating Todd and the whole situation. He tries to sabotage George and Todd's business. He talks bad about George. He talks bad about Todd. He's looking on dating apps in front of Todd. He's just rubbing it all in. And toward the end of the week, he actually drugs Todd. And his plan is to make Todd miss the marathon. It's just horrible. This storyline really just goes to show how hard it is to leave. Even if he leaves right now, Theo is still going to be there pulling the strings and manipulating the situation. He's still going to be there. That's how abuse is. It's just absolutely horrible to see, but just brilliantly done, honestly. All right, so let's talk about Megan and Will, okay? So Monday starts. Sam is at Roy's, and he's looking a little poorly, right? I mean, he's sweating. He just obviously just does not look good. And Nina sees this, and she's very concerned, right, with her little new hairdo, back to black, right? So she's like very concerned about Sam's well-being. Eva comes in, tries to order, and Nina is just distracted because, again, like she's really worried about Sam. And she mentions that to Eva, and they try to like see what's going on. Sam sort of just brushes it off, goes outside, and Eva tries to talk to him. Again, I'm okay, brushes it off, and he falls out. He faints. Megan's there, calls 999. They go to hospital. And Nick, Bethany, Toya, they are at hospital with Sam. And they find out that Sam was actually taking pills to overdose. And so they're trying to get to the truth. Like, what's going on? Like, something else is happening. It's not just the stress, right? Like, why are you taking these pills? Why are you abusing these pills? What's going on? And Leanne just keeps pushing. And shout out to Leanne, like she knows when something is wrong and she doesn't want to lose another child, right? Meanwhile, Megan and Will meet up. Megan tells Will that Sam is in hospital. He overdosed. Will just like, oh my goodness, like you shouldn't have threatened him. We shouldn't have been bullying him. Maybe we should just come out and say it that we're in a relationship. And Megan is just like floored by that statement. Megan is just an interesting character for me because she's not a one-note villain, I would say. First of all, I think Beth Nixon is playing her brilliantly. And this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is her first TV role. I know it's Lucas Hodgkins Wells' first TV role, but I want to say this is Beth's first role on television as well, which is insane to me. Okay, like she's absolutely killing the game. It's just really interesting how she plays Megan. When I look at Megan, I feel like there is a point when she looks like she knows that what she's doing is wrong. There is no doubt about it. You know, one during the week she even says like, oh, Will is a child, you know, like she knows it's wrong. I don't see any remorse in her eyes or anything like that. And this is not shade at all to Beth because she plays Megan so well. But it's just, for me, it's just so hard to see anything that kind of humanizes her character in a way. Because from my point of view, she knows that it's wrong. And the only thing she's worried about is getting caught. Like, she's done this multiple times. Like I said, Will isn't the only victim, and neither is the young man, the young boy before. Like, there's been numerous of victims. And there's a point where Megan, you sort of can see sometimes when she's talking to Will, it's like, okay, this is a child. Okay? Like, this is a little boy. He's immature. Obviously, he's 16, right? He's immature. He has this crazy fantasy of like us running off in the sunset together, right? So it clicks with her. But I don't think that realization is, oh my goodness, this is a teenager. This is wrong. I need to stop. It's more like, oh my gosh, this is a teenager. He's going to mess up everything for me because he's going to tell his little friends. He's going to tell the world that we together. He's going to mess up everything. So I need to hurry up, cut him loose, and move on to the next one. That is what I think she thinks. I don't see anything that humanizes this character. And again, not a slight on Beth because she's killing it. And I'm sure she tries to humanize the character, I'm assuming. But it's just, for me, just looking at someone like Megan, it's just like, ugh, there's no way. There's no way. Like, how can you even empathize with a character like that, right? You know? I don't know. But it's also, I guess it's also how society is, right? Like, we can justify to some point, you know, killing someone or something, right? But like, there's lines being drawn, right? So, but yeah, no, Beth Nixon is doing an absolutely fantastic job. Lucas as well is doing a fantastic job. His first role straight up, and he's doing well. He's handling such a big storyline very well, in my opinion. So definitely shout out to him. So yes, after Megan and Will talk, we move on back in the hospital. Again, people are trying to get to Sam, like, hey, what is wrong? Like, what is going on? Please tell me. And there's a moment that I think Sam was going to tell Leanne, but Bethany walks in. Great timing, Bethany. And, you know, obviously Sam just sort of shuts down. Later on, Bethany leaves. Leanne goes out for something. I can't remember what. And then Megan comes in and threatens Sam again. Jude, this kid is taking on such a heavy storyline. He is holding his own, you know, in these scenes with absolute powerhouses, you know. He's a brilliant little guy, and I really can't wait to see what he does, you know, in the future. But yeah, so we have Megan threatening Sam, but little does she know Leanne is outside of the hospital room and she's looking. It's something that Megan did. I didn't catch that until I rewatched it. When she was threatening Sam in the hospital, she's like, oh, like, do you understand? Right? And then she slightly caresses Sam's cheek. That is so evil, right? So evil. And it just goes to show like how far she's willing to go. Like, she will probably hurt Sam in order to stop him, right? In order to silence him. Like, that's such a power move though. It's like, I have this power over you. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to say anything. But here's the thing that she doesn't know. Sam was not going to back down, right? He's not going to back down. He's not the type of person who just let things go, sweep it under the rug. Sam's a trooper. We love Sam over here. So the next day, Leanne and Megan are in the flat, and Megan says like, oh, I'm so sorry. There were some rumors going around that people were like taking these medications, and I should have seen the signs. And Leanne is like, yeah, you should have. I think Leanne is definitely on to Megan. Like something's not right. And she's trusting her gut, which I absolutely love. So later on, Sam is still in hospital. Leanne and Eva goes to see Sam. And Sam tells Leanne and Eva that the reason why he did all of this is because Megan was abusing Will. He finally says it. And Leanne is just such a trooper. Like, she's like, I believe you 100%. And Eva, obviously, she's, her mind is blown. Right? She can't believe it. She's like, no, Megan's a family friend. Like, they've known Megan for years, right? And it's like, how could something like this happen under our noses? So she's like questioning Sam, like, are you sure? Like, what is your evidence? Are you positive about this, right? This is some serious allegations. And Sam just sticking to his guns. Like, yes, I know what I saw. He's explaining things. And he said, I know it's not much evidence, but it's true. So the next day, the Battersby sisters, Leanne, Eva, and Toya, tells Megan to meet them at the Rovers. Megan goes in, and as soon as she just know, okay, so I think I'm in trouble, right? She knows something is going on. She knows she got caught out. And the thing is, she didn't think that Sam would say anything at all. She underestimated Sam. So they confront Megan, and Megan tries to lie her way out of it, saying that, oh, Will just has a crush. So she kind of falls back on that and thinks that she's going to wiggle her way out of the situation. She's saying, oh, like, yeah, Will kissed me. I pushed him away, obviously, because he's a child. It's inappropriate. I should have told you. I'm sorry I didn't, but I was afraid of my job. Right? She's trying to, like, weasel her way out of everything. This is a great choice. Eva just like, oh, you know what? You're not an idiot. I understand. Thank you for telling me. Like, she's trying to make it seem like she's on Megan's side, just so Megan would feel like, oh, I have an ally now. I can let my guard down a little bit, right? But then when she leaves, Leanne just like, you don't believe her, do you? And Eva, not a flame of word. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love this. This is what I absolutely love, and this is what I wanted. I wanted the Battersby sisters back and forth for us. Like, I absolutely love it. And I love the Driscolls, right? Just as a family. And I love Leanne, Toya, and Eva, I really do. So later on, we have Eva telling Ben what Sam told her, that Will's been groomed, that Megan's been having inappropriate relationships with Will and another young boy. And Ben just can't believe it, and the way he reacted is definitely realistic. It's definitely realistic. So he goes to talk to Will, who's outside on his swings. And again, it just goes to show how young Will is and how innocent he is, and he asks Will, has she ever done anything inappropriate? Has she ever crossed the line? And Will just is so adamant, no. And I believe he believes that. I believe that he thinks that whatever they have is an actual relationship, and nothing is inappropriate about that. And again, it just goes to show how young and how immature he is. And it's really interesting because no one ever really asks him outright, have you actually been intimate with her? Will is just wrestling with everything, and he thinks that what they're doing is right. Like, there's nothing wrong with what they're doing, right? He's being manipulated by Megan. Later on, Megan and Daniel meet up in school, and you can tell Megan just knows something is up, and she's trying to talk her way out of things. She's trying to make sure that she has Daniel as an ally, right? The police shows up, Kit shows up, and arrests Megan for suspicions of sexual grooming of a minor. And I know there's been a little bit of talk online in certain spaces. Like, a lot of people are saying, like, oh, Kit shouldn't have been the lead, should be Lisa. I think that it's important to have Kit as the lead in this investigation. It makes sense that Kit is is the one leading this investigation 100%. The same, because we have Kit, we have Will, we have Tim. I think in this case, the men needs to be at the forefront. I really do. So yeah, I have no issue with that. So Megan is arrested. After that, the Driscolls kind of sort of sit down at the Rovers and talk about what's going on, right? Maggie obviously is furious, and she's blaming Eva, she's blaming Ben. Ben is blaming Ollie. Everyone's blaming everyone else, saying like, oh, we should have caught it sooner. Why was she in our lives? Things. This is tearing the Driscolls apart, right? And that's what abuse does. It doesn't just affect that one person. It impacts a lot of people in a lot of different ways. I think the Driscolls will definitely come out stronger with this. I think they definitely have a hand in the whodunit. I don't know if Ben or Eva, or maybe all three, Eva, Leanne, and Toya might kill Megan, or maybe Will. Who knows? Nobody knows. But I am excited to see what's going on. So that night, again, while they are arguing, Will comes down the steps and he just breaks down because he's hearing everyone yell and scream. I don't think he came to terms that he was actually a victim of grooming at all. Like, I just think that he thinks that they don't understand, and he doesn't want their family to fight, and he doesn't view Megan like that, right? He doesn't view Megan like that. He really views this as a consensual relationship, and he doesn't grasp the fact that she's a predator, and she has been, and she is, and if she gets away with this, she will be one again. I've said it before, but honestly, Lucas is doing a brilliant job. I know some people might not like the character of Will. That's neither here or there. I think it's really important that they made Will sort of, I don't know, people might say bratty or something like that, because it really just, it goes to show, one, like, he's 16. He was 15 when the character was 15 when he came to Weatherfield, right? So he's 15, 16 years old. Of course he's going to be bratty. He's going to feel that way because he's 16 years old, right? He's not going to be mature. He's a kid. And it really just goes to show, like, this is wrong. This is terrible. Like, what Megan is doing is absolutely disgusting, Yeah, so yeah, Lucas is doing a wonderful job in this. So later during the week, Daniel comes in, guns blazing, just threatening Will, accusing Will of being a liar. Ben, of course, stands up for his son. And Daniel's like, Megan's innocent because a few years ago I was accused of the same thing and I didn't do anything and I was innocent. And I'm just like, yeah, cool, yeah, great, you were innocent. Okay, congratulations, but it doesn't mean Megan is. Like, you can't just assume everybody else is innocent just because you had a similar thing that happened to you. You know what I'm saying? The thing is with Daniel, he loves hard, and he lets that cloud his judgment. Luckily, toward the end of the week, he came to his senses, but he shouldn't have never, ever, ever threatened Will, ever. I know he found his senses toward the end, but like, that's something you just don't do. Like, no matter what, even if you think he's lying, you don't go and threaten a kid. Later on, Will goes to the station and Kit talks to him. Kit basically says, like, yeah, you're 16, you're a young lad. Of course, you're going to have crushes on, older women, blah, blah. But he says, if she manipulated you, that's wrong. And Will doesn't think about it. He doesn't think that that's what's happening. The same way that Tim didn't think that he was manipulated and groomed when he was younger. And I really hope they weave that story in. I think they will, but I hope they weave it in well. This could be really, really interesting. So Megan is also being interviewed. Adam is representing Megan. Adam is right. Like, everybody deserves to be represented. But yeah, that's just a wrong move. Like, you're just not going to get any, sympathy at all, Adam. But Kit questions Megan. And Megan is just like, no, he's a teenage boy who has a crush on me. That's it. Anything else would be inappropriate. So again, she knows exactly what she's doing. She knows what she's doing is wrong. She doesn't care about that. The only thing she cares about is getting caught. That's it. Like, that's it. Because I 100% believe if she wouldn't have got arrested, right, I think she would have broken things off with Will, moved on to somebody else, because that's what she does. She doesn't care. Only thing she cares about is not getting arrested. Because again, she knows what happens to people in prison, that are groomers, So the only thing she cares about is herself. She doesn't care about Will. She doesn't care about anyone but herself. Later on in the week, Maggie does some investigating. And she talks to Will's ex-girlfriend. They actually broke up before the Driscolls even moved to Weatherfield. And Ben says, like, well, that's not possible because they were at the hotel when we caught them, right? On his birthday, on his 16th birthday. He puts two and two together. This is it. This is the evidence that they need. Like, this is it, right? So they go to the hotel, but unfortunately, the CCTV is wiped out. They can't use it. So they think, oh my goodness, all is lost. Like, this was the evidence we needed. You know, Will's denying everything. We need hard evidence. This is it. They didn't get it. So they think, what else can we do? Well, Leanne comes in. She had previously chucked all of Megan's stuff on the ground. Shout out to Leanne. And she found what is it? I think it was like a pregnancy vitamins, if I'm not mistaken. Everyone's like, well, why would she need, pregnancy vitamins? Because she had an abortion. And Leanne's like, well, why would she keep it if she had an abortion, right? Like, obviously she's still pregnant. And so the evidence that they actually need is in Megan's belly, as Eva says, right? But the problem is she has to consent to that test, right? They can't force her to do it. The police can't force her to do it. I've heard some people say that, oh, she might get an abortion. She might terminate the pregnancy. If she does do that, that's just an admission of guilt, not in the eyes of the law, but in the eyes of society and in the eyes of the folks in Weatherfield. So I'm not really sure what she's going to do. I think, so at first I thought, okay, maybe she will get a termination and then she'll just up and leave, right? She'll get a termination, the charges won't stick, she's free to go, then she'll just leave Will. And again, start over again in a new town with a new victim. But she is back April 23rd. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I am excited to find out though. Because she has to, first of all, I'm like 90% sure it's going to be Megan that goes down. 90% sure. Because the charges are not going to stick at all. She's going to weasel her way out of it. It's just not going to stick. They don't have any evidence, if you be honest, like hard evidence, right? Because Will's not talking. Sam didn't have like physical evidence. In fact, all the evidence points to Will just has a crush. That's it. So yes, he's a social pariah, sure. But legally, she can't go to prison. For what? There's no evidence. She doesn't have to get the DNA test. So she can literally just up and leave once the charges are dropped, right? So it'll be interesting to see why she comes back. If she leaves, why she comes back April 23rd. We'll see. Again, later on, Daniel is still being insufferable and blaming Will, blaming Sam, blaming everybody but Megan. He starts an argument with Ken and Tracy. The hoops he would jump to protect somebody that he barely knows just because he's in love, apparently. It's really frustrating. So Daniel finds out that Megan is actually pregnant. He goes to see her. And he tells her, like, you have to get a test. Get a test done. And Megan's like, well, why should I? I don't have to. And she's right. She doesn't have to. Well, why should I? And Daniel just gives her an ultimatum. He's like, hey, we're done. Either you get this test done or we're finished. We're completely finished. And finally he comes to his senses. He goes to the Rovers and he starts a scene. This is something I didn't like either. He's upset. I get that. But to just put this little boy's business out there in the Rovers is just insane to me. He has no respect for Will, no respect for the Driscolls. Well, the only thing he cares about is his heart being broken. That's it. And that's why, again, Daniel is at the lowest point of my character list. Like, he is so low. I do not like Daniel. Do not like him at all. Never did. I don't think I ever will. But he goes in and he's just has a screaming match at pretty much everybody that will listen. He calls out Adam for representing Megan. I get that. Believe me, I do. But at the same time, you're making a whole entire scene in front of people because your heart was broken and you feel betrayed. You don't really care about Will, because if you cared about Will, you would actually talk to him and apologize to him, but he doesn't. The only thing he cares about is his heart being broken because he made a stupid decision yet again. And then he even goes forth to blame Ben and the rest of the Driscolls. And it's just, absolutely disgusting, to be honest. I do not like Daniel. But that's how we end the episode. We end the episode on Eva talking to Maggie, and Maggie just looks like she is about to murder Megan. And maybe she will. You just never know. But yeah, it was an incredible week. Really hard hitting stuff. Again, I just have to shout out everybody for doing a fantastic job with the storyline. The script is absolutely amazing. It's really brilliant. You can really tell they took the time out to get this right. And I'm looking forward to what comes next. This is all building up to the whodunit. I hope you all can enjoy it as much as you can enjoy a storyline like this, right? My final predictions, honestly, I think Megan's going to get off. I don't think he's going to get sent down at all. I think Megan's going to be the one to go. Some people might think it's Jody. I don't think it's Jody. I know she has a storyline coming up. I'm not going to spoil it in case you all haven't read like the official spoilers. But I know Jody has a story coming up that might put her in the sights of someone or some people. But I don't think Jody is going to be the one to go because she just came on. And remember, she's on Coronation Street because of Corydale. So we have that connection. And I think there is a lot more story left for her character. I don't think she's going to go anytime soon. Remember, Betsy said, it doesn't matter what you've done. Something along the lines of, it doesn't matter what you've done. No one deserves to die like that. So obviously the victim has done something horrible. Jody has not done anything horrible. She might. It depends on exactly what happens in the next couple of weeks. Spoilers suggest she might do something, but we don't know. But as of now, the only people who have done something horrible are Theo, Megan, and Carl. I don't think it's Carl that's going to go, only because that story seems to be wrapping up a bit. Debbie, so if I'm not mistaken, Sue is still going to be on Coronation Street until at least 2027, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't think anything's going to happen to her. Like, I can see if something happens to her, like Debbie dies or something, or in critical condition. And then because of that, it kicks off again and someone kills Carl. But I don't see that happening. So that story is kind of being wrapped up right now. Yes, she's still in prison, but it's only affecting Kevin, Ronnie, and Debbie. It's not affecting anyone else. So if Carl does go, if he is killed, the suspects are only those 3, maybe 4 people, maybe Abby, and that's not really an interesting whodunit, right? With Theo, I think it would be interesting if Theo goes, only because Summer, right? Summer also have motive to kill Carl as well. So that could be interesting. But with Theo, I would love for him to just be sent down because he deserves that. Don't take the easy way out. Get him sent down. So that means the only other victim it could be is Megan. Because again, Jody hasn't done anything. Maggie hasn't done anything either. Yeah, she killed her husband, but that just affects Ben. That's it. And the rest of Driscoll's, but mainly just Ben. That doesn't make sense. So I think the only one we can really point to is Megan right now, because what she has done affected multiple people. The Driscolls, obviously, but also Sam, Leanne, Daniel, So that's what I'm thinking. We'll see. Obviously, that will change. We're a month away from the whodunits and the Swirler wedding. So a lot of stuff can happen. There's also, I'm not going to spoil it, but something that's coming up that is a bit worrying for a long time character. Let's hope everything goes well with that. I'm not going to say anymore. But yeah, I am interested to see how everything plays out because it's being set up so beautifully. Yeah, my bet right now is on Megan, and probably Battersby sisters oftener. And that's how Leanne and Toya really get back to how it used to be. And that's also how Eva comes family in Maggie's eyes. Because again, it's this running motif of Maggie saying family first, right? And she just doesn't like Eva no matter what. I think this is what's going to bring them together. I think this is what is going to make Maggie see Eva as family, as somebody we're fighting for. Because I think she's going to be the one that offs her. And Maggie's going to protect her. So I think that's going to happen. We will see. I want to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think about it? Who do you think is going to go? Megan, Carl, Maggie, Jody, Theo. So that's been this week's Coronation Street. I'm really excited. But make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is Stateside Street, and on Instagram is Stateside Street Podcast. We're also on YouTube, Stateside Street Podcast. So definitely check us out. We'll have actual videos up. I know this one is an audio podcast, but we'll start having some videos up next week. Some really cool, fun stuff. Again, interviews coming up, some really cool collaborations coming up with some awesome people. I'm really excited about that. This has been Stay Street, and you all have been absolutely fabulous. Thank you all for listening. Stay safe.